What's up, you goofy goobers? Today we're going to talk about some cool weird noises that I use all the time in my playing, but hopefully if you have not seen these, if you're a beginner or you are just looking for some different cool things to do while playing guitar or while you're playing live or stuff, hopefully this video will benefit you. This video is not necessarily music theory based, but it does require you to have a little bit of technique with your right to left hand thing, but hopefully this will inspire you to keep playing and trying new stuff and creative stuff so it's fun. Today we're going to take a look at a couple things that are easy to do and then some things that are a little more difficult from like signature artists that take a little bit of time to get a good hang on, but hopefully these will kind of highlight some cool things that you can use. So today I'm using a bare bones meat and potato type guitar where there's not a lot of give, but I can show you that you can do this on any guitar. The only caveat I have is I am using an amp that has a little more drive than most. So most of the stuff we're gonna do is gonna seem like it's doing more gain. It's not always good, but it does help in this scenario when you're doing these types of tricks. You can do this with a clean amp, but it doesn't sound as cool. The first one is just going to be a hand slide. Hand slide is just going to be just going down the neck. No matter what string it is, it can be the biggest or smallest. You're just going to go down the neck like this. Real easy. And all I did was just start on any fret. I'm just going to go all the way down the neck. Now, it is cleaner when you use a pick. So you don't have to pick hard, it's just you're picking it and then you're sliding down. So then the second one we're going to take a look at is the pick scrape. Now with the pick scrape, I'm using a heavier pick, and also to add to that, any of these names for any of these tricks and stuff, I'm going to try to do them as accurately as possible, but some of these I'm just making the names up of like what I think.
Yeah, this is what this is.
But this is a pick scrape, and we're going to take the side of the pick right here, and it's a heavier gauge pick. This is a 1.0, I believe. It's a Jazz 3, whatever that is, but it's real heavy. Use a heavy pick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape down the side of the biggest string. I guess I'm going to call this one like a runaway train. I don't know. And I'll use this to kind of sound like a car. Like braking. And you can do this on the higher strings too. You can actually hear this in Pantera's A New Level at the very beginning. But that pick scrape, of course, side of the pick. And you can do a hybrid of licks and tricks we had just done right now, sliding down and then scraping, kind of like Eddie Van Halen. So 2 out of the way already. So now we're going to talk about Calling of the Whale. This one's kind of stupid, but you can do this one pretty easy. Now you will need like a little bit of reverb on this because you want to sound like you're in the ocean. But what you're going to do is you're just going to do like a pre-bend, any fret, and you're going to pick it and then you're going to let off the volume, or you can have it wide open. It doesn't matter because you'll have a lot of reverb. So this is what it sounds like. Another form of doing the same thing is on the highest string, and this is going to be a cat crying. Now you want to emulate like a kitten crying. Same thing is like picking. I usually do them on like the highest frets because it sounds the most like a kitten. That's just me. But I'm going to pick and do the same thing, let my volume in and out, or just leave it wide open because you're going to have a lot of reverb on it anyways. So now we're going to talk about natural harmonics. Natural harmonics are things that you can take your pointer finger on the 12th, 7th, and 5th fret of the guitar and just pluck them, and they create these harmonics. Now, I'm not holding these down tight. Very lightly am I plucking these, so it'll sound like this. Real light, not anything too crazy. I'm just plucking, and I'm putting my pointer finger over the 7th fret, like directly over the fret, not in the middle, because sometimes you won't get a clear note, but if you do it right over the fret, it'll be good. So. Another way you can do this real easy is just bending the neck. So this one's easy too. You can do it on any string, and all you're gonna do, say if you want to do like a dive bomb, which is for another video for people that have tremolos or a Floyd Rose. So, but if you don't have one, this is an easy trick to still do this. So if I want to do some sort of dive bomb, I could go. And what I'm doing is I'm pushing the neck forward and the body in, so they're opposing, so it's making the tension of the strings loosen. Now, you want to be very careful with this because I don't want anybody to snap their neck, so just be very mindful of that. You can do that with any string, of course. And another cool thing you can add with that natural harmonic is you can do your natural harmonics and bend down. Another one is a sliding harmonic, and that's when you take your pointer finger or any string, but it's easier to do it on a bigger string. You're just gonna lightly graze it on the top of that big string, or any string, of course, strumming up and down. Or you just. And you can speed it up. Of course, easier to do it on the bigger strings, but oh no. Now we're going to talk about just the side of the pick, and this is almost like robots or aliens or birds even talking. And all you're going to do is you're going to tap down on the highest strings and just do this. It could be anywhere, really. Another one is behind the nut. This one's really easy as well. All you're doing is taking your picking hand and you are gonna strum behind the nut. This usually works better for the guitars that have headstocks that have the raised strings behind the nut. Gibson. All you gotta do is strum behind this and hit down, and it almost sounds like a harp, or not a harp, but like the strings on the back of a piano. Better. That's how you're gonna do. So you can use that for transition. A lot of acrobatics of like switching hands and scraping across. Another cool thing you can do behind the nut is you can bend these strings up. Familiar? But you can do those, and a cool thing you can add with that is the harmonic. So if you do the harmonic, So it kind of works in a way if you don't have a tremolo bar that you could bend strings up. It's kind of cool. Now we're going to get into some of the more technical stuff. This is going to be the Eddie Van Halen hand harmonic. So what you're going to do is do a pull off, hammer on the 4th and the 2nd fret, and then up. So you're going to pull off all that. You get this without a pick, but that's what you're mainly going to do anyway. So you're going to 4, 2, 0. And the tricky part is doing that while having your right hand raise slightly, what we're doing with the harmonics on this fret, but go across the string. So kind of slowly you'll be able to hear it. You do it a little bit faster. There's that one, and Zakk Wylde does his own version of that. He does it with a ring, and that's one of my favorites for doing live because it almost has the Eddie Van Halen flair to it, but has kind of like an airplane taking off kind of sound. And it's easier to do it on the G string, I've come to find. All the other strings, it's doable, but the G string is kind of the sweet spot for that. Speaking on the topic of Zakk Wylde, this is going to be, the next two are going to be very Zakk Wylde oriented, and this one's going to be a pinch harmonic. When I was growing up, I was watching a lot of Zakk Wylde, especially the Live at Budokan. If you haven't seen or heard that album, it's ridiculous. But Zakk Wylde does crazy solo, but just a slew of just pinch harmonics for no reason. I loved it. But I'm going to use his version of how he does Crazy Train, and I'm going to put my pointer finger on the 2nd fret. And what I'm going to do this pinch harmonic is I'm going to pluck down real hard on that top string and bend the string down at the same time, so then you get this. But it works on any fret, doesn't matter if you do it on that one. So, Crazy Train example is so really easy, just, and it does help, again, like I said before, if you have a lot of gain to do these things, but you can do this with a clean channel as well. But again, so this next Zakk Wylde trick is tricky for me, but it's been one of my favorite ones when I hear him do it. But I have to do my own modified version of that because it's very complicated to get it clean, but I'll try my best. But it's the one where he is using the 13th fret on the G string. And it's got this like descending kind of like falling down the stairs kind of sound. And he takes his middle finger and puts it behind that hammering on pull off hand, and it creates this falling down effect. Now, that is the simplified version. He actually descends and follows that finger while it slides down. And that's a little bit harder for me, so I think I can still get the sound with it just being on the 13th fret. But it does sound cooler when you are sliding at the same time. So, that's a hard one, but it's still fun. Now, in the next video, if I have missed any tricks that came to my mind, I will add those in there with the other video I'm going to do for guitarists that have a Floyd Rose, a whammy bar, tremolo, whatever you want to call it, and we'll throw those in there. But hopefully this will kind of get you started on some tricks that will be beneficial to you. Thank you for joining in. I hope you enjoy this, and y'all keep rocking.